Hi everyone, welcome to your first week of solid content. So this is where we go. Course content for week 1, week 2, week 3, they'll all be posted here. This is under this modules link here on the left if you're new to Canvas. You've got 3 pages, an overview page, a learn, explore, and apply, and submit. If you've taken UX research, this format should look familiar to you. But in case you haven't, I'll just do a quick. Module 1 is going to be an overview page, which is going to kind of just preview what we're going to learn and do for the week. Then learn and explore is where all of our content is. There will be quick links to your activities, which I'll show you in a minute. There's going to be videos, there's articles, there's sometimes little tools and games in there. And so really the class content is here in the Learn and Explore. And then you're applying the concepts you've learned and submitting them for grading in Apply and Submit. So let's pop into Learn and Explore. Module 1, Learn and Explore, is basically just introducing you to the field of UX, kind of welcoming you to the class. So this is a shorter module, and when I release it, which I'm releasing it tomorrow, I'm going to actually release Module 1 and Module 2. And I'm going to do that because Module 2 is bigger, as I'll explain in my Module 2 video, and I want you to have extra time just as you're readjusting your schedules. I mean, we're starting in the middle of the semester, so everybody's kind of got a rhythm going, and now you're going to have this intense 8-week class. And so just to give you a little transitional time there, Module 1 is shorter, as we'll see in a second, quite a bit shorter. And Module 2 is longer, and so I'm going to open them both at once just to give you that extra time. And then moving forward, it'll just be 1 a week after that. So Module 1, what to expect in the class, talks about some of the things we're going to do, a little bit about me. I post a video introducing myself, just sort of my, who I am, as far as my experience with UCCS and working in the field of UX, my relationship with design and things like that. So that's going to be in the discussion board because you have intro video to post yourself. So that's where I'll put mine. Just a couple of videos introducing you to the field of UX. I always like to understand history of something to kind of give you that deeper context or understanding. So you've got a history of UX, a little discussion here, a history of UX design video to watch, and then this is an interesting timeline of the development of UX design. I find it fascinating, so you can link to that there. Now, our first activity this week is around understanding what it's like to work in the field and the job trends in UX. And so you have an activity where you're going to go and on, job posting forums or boards, you're going to find 3 UX design or related, because we call it a lot of different things, and I'll give you some resources around that. But basically you're going to compare them in terms of what are the responsibilities that are required of you, what kind of characteristics, skills, technical skills, personality traits might we see in these opportunities in the field. And then you'll just come be looking at, are there patterns or commonalities there, and then reflecting where do you fit in that context and in that scene. So if you like to just link right to assignments as we're talking about the topic in class, which is kind of what I would do if we were teaching a face-to-face class, then I've created these little activity previews. And so right when we're talking about a topic, and maybe you watched a video on it, or you read an article, or you had a handout, or you played a game or something, you can just pop right out of the learning module and go to Apply and Submit and complete that activity that is related to the concept that we just discussed in the moment, if that works for you as a learner. If you prefer to just do all of your work later at once, then you can just cruise right on by the activity previews and do all the work once you move forward in the module to Apply and Submit. So then I want you, the next activity shortly thereafter is really just getting you involved in the conversation in UX. So the field is dynamic, it's constantly changing. You're going to see that up here even when you're looking for jobs to apply for, because there's 15 different terms that we use now to hire people who have UX design responsibilities. And that's changed. 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. 5 years ago, it looked different than it does now. And so I give you a list of possibilities, but who knows? It's always changing. So to kind of continue familiarizing yourself with this very dynamic field, the next activity is around finding a blogger or vlogger in the field that you like and that you want to follow their content. You want to watch their videos, you want to read their blog, whatever resonates with you. If you're visual or not, or you prefer reading, it's totally up to you. But you're going to find somebody who is currently publishing, creating content in the field, because we want the fresh stuff. Okay. So you're going to choose them, and then you're going to share your vlogger in your introduction post, where you're actually going to kind of be like, hey, this is who I am and this is who I decided to follow. So you're going to, if you want to do that work right now, you can, again, a quick link to apply and submit. And then see, look how short this is. This is such a little baby module. Like, that's why I was like, let's also open up module 2 at the same time. However, they're very different in terms of their focus, like design concepts, color, the psychology of design, typography, all of that is one body of or one conversation. And so that's going to be your module 2. And then module 1 is really like, here's the field, here's how to engage with it. This is what it looks like to work in it. This is what people are creating. This is the history of it. And so I really wanted to keep them separate, but again, I'll open them at the same time to give you guys more time. And this is Psychopathology of Everyday Things, chapter 1. And so you're going to use Perusall and you're going to read and annotate. And you can click right here, or you can, let me move my face. Oh no, there we go. And you can click next, and it'll take you right over to apply and submit. And then these are the links to your discussion board, where you're going to intro yourself, share whatever content creator you think is cool. This is where you're going to click right into Perusall to do your annotations. And then synchronous meeting this week if you want to chat with me about anything, class, the class content, ask questions around that, etc. This is your UX profile analysis activity and your journal activity. So just so you know, every week, this is about how much work. There'll usually be 5 line items to do here. There will oftentimes be a discussion board. There will oftentimes be some sort of annotation activity, whether that is a reading or a podcast or a video. So generally I have one of those. Might not have one next week, but often that is an often element that you'll be completing. You're always going to see a link to this 11 to noon on Wednesdays. And there's always going to be a weekly design activity of some kind, or analysis of design activity. And then there's a journal activity, some sort of reflective element in there. This 11 to noon on Wednesdays, I just want to tell you guys, if this doesn't work for you to ever join this time or day on this day, I need to know that like now. So email me, because we are working with a real client, and it would be very beneficial for you to attend a client interview where you can ask your client questions that you prepared, so that you understand your design project, so you can create a strong deliverable. And right now I'm just picking the Wednesday because that's the only date that was on that UCCS had assigned to us. I'm just picking this like lunch hour, 11 to noon kind of a thing. And so the client has some flexibility there, or liaison with the client, Eden. And so if I hear enough from students that they can't make this time for a Zoom call, this is all online, then give me some extra days and time so I can see if I can do it twice a week for the client interview. And then when we do some design feedback workshops on your prototypes, which are great opportunities for you, I can offer maybe a couple a week instead of just the Wednesday, if necessary. So please reach out, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, welcome to the class. Looking forward to having you guys, and don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything.